Husband fell in love with an online gamer girl. I forgave him once, but now he is asking for open marriage. Hi. I've been married to my hubby for 4 years and we've been together for 12 years. After a lot of financial struggle, we bought a house and we are now planning to get kids. Thing is, a few months ago, my husband fell sick and had to stay home for a while. He decided to pick up an online game and started having weekly sessions with a group of players. Among them is a girl, 30, I think, and long story short, he fell in love with her. He broke down crying a month ago and admitted it. He told me it built up so gradually he didn't understand how he felt until it was too late. They started texting privately after meeting and eventually had one-on-one calls together. Then at some point, he said, she told him she was in love with him and he realized it was mutual. He said he told her it was impossible but loved her too. They tried to be just friends but they couldn't resist and continued to show affection for each other. He showed me the texts, but also venture into sexting. She asked if she could meet him face to face but he refused. So he told me all of this, apologized over and over again and told me he couldn't control himself, and while he loved us both, it was me he would choose no matter what. I was still very upset and slept at a friend's that night to gather my thoughts. I decided to forgive him because he clearly felt guilt and wanted to work it out. I told him that while I was deeply hurt, I still appreciated him coming forward to me and being honest about what happened. We got into long conversations about how we were feeling in our relationship. I accepted he could love someone else but said I didn't like how he handled it. He agreed. And then yesterday he asked if I was comfortable opening up the marriage to polyamory. He said he still wanted to live with me and have kids but can't erase nor ignore the feelings he has for her. He says he wants to do it right and let us both see other people, with clear boundaries and communication, and still be present for one another. I'm gonna be honest, it made me very uncomfortable at first. We have several friends who are poly. I know more or less how it works, but I never really thought about getting into it myself. I am not against, it just never crossed my mind before. I am trying to think it through, but it's a lot to take in. Could you guys give me your opinions on this? Thanks a lot. Update 1. Hey guys. First off, sorry I didn't reply to all your comments. I am very thankful for them. They helped me realize hard, but fair, truths about the whole situation. I waited for a bit to think about it all and had multiple long discussions with my husband. I wanted to confront him before making a final decision. To answer some of your questions, the other girl wanted to meet him, but they never did. Partly because my husband refused, but honestly, mostly because she lives too far from here. I still got checked for STDs, though, and I'm clean, yay. As for our polyamory friends, they apparently were the ones who suggested him to go down the polyamory road. I stopped talking to them for now. I'll deal with the bigger problem first. I told him his actions hurt me deeply and that while I appreciated him admitting his affair, it was still infidelity. I told him what you guys said, that turning it into polyamory was merely greenlighting the affair after the fact. That polyamory should be built on mutual trust and communication, which he already broke. That I didn't feel respected. It destroyed him. He said he already knew, deep down, but didn't want to admit it, neither to me nor to himself. We both screamed and cried a lot. He finally admitted he wanted to open the marriage for selfish reasons. He is very sorry. He cut off contact with the other girl, let me fully access his computer and phone, and now wants to go to counseling to repair our relationship and marriage. He is showing me a lot of affection and attention since then, although he admits himself it's sometimes out of guilt and not just out of pure love. And now I want to make it work too, but, am I? Or is it sunk cost fallacy? I don't know. Our first session is in 2 months, the earliest we could get, and every day I change my mind. Literally yesterday I wanted to leave him, while today I think it's worth giving it a try. Because we've known each other for so long, we understand each other on a very deep level, share a lot of interests, and have already built so much together. He was there for me during hard parts of my life. He took responsibility for his actions and is really trying. Plus, if I leave him, I'd have to start my life nearly from scratch, find a new place to live, go back into dating for the first time in 12 years. I don't want to lose everything. It sounds very hard and scary. Am I not too old for this? But at the same time, that's a form of denial, isn't it? It doesn't matter if those years were good, it's not going to be the same. Even if he gains my trust back, even if I forgive him, I'll never forget. I think he is genuinely remorseful, but isn't it too late for that? I am too empathetic. Him being present now doesn't erase what was done. Do I want to stay not because I still believe in this relationship, but because don't have the strength to ask for a divorce? Because it's the easy choice, some kind of codependency? I have no idea. I can picture both paths clearly, and it's tearing me apart. I am lost, maybe even more than I was when I wrote my previous post. I've lost sleep and appetite, and I'm not sure I enjoy anything in my life anymore. I booked an appointment with a psychologist, for me alone, to help with this whole thing. I am sorry, at this point, I am rambling. I know I am the only one who can decide what's okay and comfortable for me or not. It's ultimately my choice and my choice only. The emotional hell I am going through just makes thinking about that choice very hard and paralyzing. I'll go to both therapies and try to see what to do from here. I'll try to update, but it's probably going to take a while. I am sorry. I want to thank you again for your support, and I'm sending you guys a lot of love. Edit. A couple of infos I should have mentioned but didn't because putting all of that into writing without omitting something is much harder than I thought. He cut off contact with her because once he told him he was married and wanted us both, she just ran away and broke up with him. There are times since then when my husband starts feeling sad or angry because of what's basically withdrawal. And for that he's smartly sensible enough not to blame me. What kind of marriage did we have before this crisis? It will sound so naive. It's my first and only romantic relationship. We were very close and basically grew as adults together. We could talk about anything and understand each other. We shared the same values and interests. What changed, I think, is that we got into a routine and he got bored. During our argument he said he was addicted to the attention the girl was giving him and that he felt I didn't show him I was in love with him enough anymore. I told him that even if it was true, he should have told me instead of having an affair. On one hand I have my faults too and I could accept this as one of them. On the other I was taking care of him in the house while he was sick. I don't think he believes it, I don't think he means it. But it makes me wonder whether I was actually a good wife for him, even though I am not responsible for his actions. Thanks again for your support, y'all. It's a lot to process, but it helps me so much. Update 2. Hey, I hope you are doing well. A huge amount of things happened since then. I'll quickly summarize. Feel free to check my profile if you want to know more. It was a very, very unpleasant ride. So, soon-to-be ex-husband had an emotional affair online and tried to make me green-light it by asking for an open marriage, where we'd be allowed to have side adventures. I refused and his affair partner dumped him. He begged me to try to reconcile with him, to which I agreed while I was actually trying to prepare my exit. We both went to individual therapy, still am. We separated temporarily 3 times, but every time I came back, it went terribly. He was desperate. He kept trying to cross my boundaries, love-bombing me, playing the victim, asking to touch me even though I established I didn't want to, threatening to kill himself if we were to divorce. I could go on and on. This made me finally realize that I was in an abusive relationship, which is an important part, actually the most important part, of this update. Please look up definitions and examples of abuse, because I had no idea that what my husband had been doing all these years, even before the affair, counted as such. In his case it was psychological abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, blame-shifting, emotional blackmail. Nothing aggressive or mean, which turned me into a very submissive partner over the years, always catering to his needs while erasing mine. I rationalized everything. It happened subtly and gradually and I was too naive to see it for what it was. His emotional affair and open marriage proposal were the natural continuity of that. Of course, the more I tried to get away from him, the more manipulative he got. Now that I was aware of it, I knew what he was doing, but fighting years of conditioning, even if you recognize it and succeed, is f***ing exhausting and disarming. So, earlier today, I brought a friend home to assist me. We sat down, the 3 of us, and I told my husband we were over and I handed in the papers. It might sound dumb, but it's genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I was terrified. Yet he agreed. He repeatedly asked me if I was sure. He reminded me of the family we were planning to have and of our best memories together. Was it all for nothing? Apparently, yes. He was heartbroken, clearly mad and frustrated. But still, he agreed. He signed them and went back to his parents for now. We still have to go through the whole procedure, separate our assets, decide what to do with the house and all. And he still wants us to go to marriage counseling. But right now, I feel free, for the first time in months. The last hours have been a mix of tears, celebration and godly, restful sleep. And I have to thank you guys again, because my first post was the wake-up call I needed to eventually, finally, get here. Better late than never, Ig. Thank you so much. Lot of love to you all. Comments. Fee, Honest 7305. He reminded me of the family we were planning to have and of our best memories together. Was it all for nothing? Apparently, yes. He was heartbroken. That's a special kind of asshole. Was it all for nothing? After cheating on his partner. He sounds like an insufferable dickhead, honestly. Congrats on your freedom. Oop, I know, right? The hypocrisy. The nerves of this man. The worst part is that he appears very charming to everyone who knows him, myself included. Hell, a lot of people from our circle, who are aware of what he did, still think he's a good person who just lost himself for a while. I guess it's hard to accept the ones we love can be terrible persons, too. Any Decision 470, you have been through a long, hard journey, and it will take a while yet, but you are investing in yourself and your health and happiness. Good for you. Continue self-care, and practice safety and security. Slow down and heal so that you will be strong and ready to seek and recognize true love. Wishing you a joyous future. You can do this. Oop, thank you. I'll do my best. I like to think the hardest part is behind me, but this story taught me to expect the worst. Whatever happens though, from now on, it's me first. I deserve love and happiness and I'll fight for it. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Our BFFs told us they're swingers during a drunken night. I was uncomfortable, but my husband seemed interested. My husband thinks I was rude to his friends over the weekend, but I just felt I was being honest, and they were being inappropriate. My husband and I have been married for 13 years now. We are both in our early 40s and have 2 wonderful preteen kids. We were college sweethearts, and he is the only person I have been with. We have a lovely life. Last week, one of my husband's childhood friend John and his wife Leah visited us along with their kids. I have known them for a long time, and they visit us every summer, and we take vacations together. Our kids are of same age and get along well. On Saturday night, after the kids went to bed, Leah and John suggested we go to our hot tub and get drunk. I only drink socially and I was just sipping some wine, while others were seriously getting wasted. Leah brought up the issue of sex and how they had slowed down a lot when the kids were young, and now again rediscovered their spark as the kids were getting older. John told us that they have also been experimenting with swinger lifestyle and how amazing their experience has been. My husband was drunk and told them that we never lost the spark, and things have been great, while I was just uncomfortably listening to them. Leah asked up if we have ever tried swinging, or open relationship, since we both got into a relationship when we were young. My husband had girlfriends before we met me, but I have never been with another man. Leah asked me if I have ever wondered if I missed out on that phase. I told her that I did not, since it was like winning a lottery with my husband and it would be foolish to regret not buying the wrong tickets. John asked my husband if he has ever thought about swinging or being with someone else. John was telling him about how the experience is amazing and just adds spice to a marriage. My husband was being polite and listening to it intently, and asking him questions about how they got into it, how they meet other couples, jealousy issues, etc. Leah finally asked me if I would consider something like swinging, and it just made me very uncomfortable. I wanted to shut down the discussion and told her that I can never imagine another man touching me in that way, and probably would leave my husband if he ever thinks of doing the same. She asked why, and I told her that another man touching me would feel like cheating to me even if my husband was okay with it, and his love is enough for me that I do not seek attention from other men. That shut Leah up, and John changed the subject quickly and we carried on. We did not talk about this for the rest of the trip. After they left, my husband thought that I was being judgmental towards Leah and John about their lifestyle. He feels I should have been nicer to them, and not equated swinging to cheating or implied that Leah was seeking attention from other men. I stood my ground and told him that I felt uncomfortable with them pushing their lifestyle onto us. Was I being rude to Leah regarding their swinger lifestyle? I feel everyone should mind their own damn business, but I was triggered by John essentially telling my husband to think about sleeping with other women, and Leah implying that I should somehow be less satisfied because I did not sleep around with a lot of guys. Moreover, I also felt my husband should have shut off the subject immediately instead of asking for more information and stories from John. Update, August 13th, 2024. Thank you for all the replies. They really helped me gain a lot of different perspectives. I talked to my husband last night, and I cannot believe how much worse things have gotten. I can't believe so many of you could see what I completely overlooked. After the kids went to sleep, I spoke with my husband, Mike. I told him that the situation from the weekend was still bothering me, and I wanted to discuss it. I asked him why he didn't feel angry at Leah for implying that I should feel bad for not sleeping with more men, and why that thought didn't repulse him. He responded that just because we don't agree with someone's lifestyle choices doesn't mean we should look down on their actions. He said that while I was right to shut her down, equating it to cheating or attention seeking isn't fair to them. He added that I don't know the circumstances that led them to start swinging in the first place, and we shouldn't judge them. I pushed further, and he told me that Leah and John weren't doing well last year, and that John felt Leah was distancing herself. Leah brought up the idea of an open relationship with John, which he initially disagreed with. However, they decided that splitting up wouldn't be good for them financially and would be worse for the kids. John then proposed the idea of swinging so they could go out together and avoid doing anything behind each other's backs. According to Mike, they both seem to have reconnected since then, and John said Leah has been happier and more present in their relationship. Mike also mentioned that Leah was just curious about me because I've never even kissed another man. He admitted he was upset because I rudely shut them down, and he feels John might be hurt because Mike believes John was forced into this lifestyle and because I equated Leah's suggestion to cheating. This got me thinking, so I asked Mike how he knew all of this. He told me that John had been confiding in him about it since last year, but he never told me because it was John and Leah's secret to share, and he didn't know if they were comfortable telling me. I started replaying the events of that night in my head. After the kids went to bed, John, Leah, and Mike were drinking. Mike was trying to get me to try his vodka drink, but I'm a lightweight and I know my limits, so I stuck to sipping some wine. Leah decided the weather was great, and we all stepped outside onto the patio. Mike started the hot tub, and Leah and John decided to get in, wearing only their underwear. Mike did the same. They all were asking me to do the same, but I kept my t-shirt on. I didn't think much of it since I've seen both of them in swimwear before. That's when they told me they were into swinging. John and Mike were discussing the benefits of swinging, and John was telling Mike how amazing it has been. Meanwhile, Leah was trying to convince me that I should be more curious about sleeping with other men. I think a lot of you are right, they might have been trying to recruit us. What makes it worse is that my husband knew about them and still tried to get me drunk and asked me to undress before getting into the tub. I asked him if he thought they were trying to get us to swing with them. He smiled and said no, but I can easily tell when my husband isn't being truthful, so I kept digging. He then admitted that Leah had asked him about it when they were planning the trip, and he laughed it off because he thought it was a joke. At this point, I was beyond pissed. Leah openly asked my husband about sleeping with him, and he never told me about it. I was playing the perfect host all weekend to a woman who, I seriously doubt it was a joke, asked my husband if he wanted to sleep with her. I was so furious that I slept on the sofa. Mike kept apologizing, saying he didn't want to out Leah and John to me because he thought it was private. However, I genuinely feel Mike's actions were also inappropriate. He tried to get me undressed and drunk in front of these people. I don't know what to do. I think it's safe to say that I'm never going to be around Leah and John again. However, I feel more hurt by Mike and his actions and I'm unsure of what I'll do next.